Okay. Okay. So, on top of your number 8 and number 9, you have a nice little parenthesis. So go ahead and put in the parenthesis of -2, put a parenthesis, and then square it and tell me what you get. Yes. Make sure it's on the outside of the parenthesis. It will give you a totally different answer. What do y'all got?
5.
Should have gotten 4. If you got something different than 4, I'm curious to see what you put in. All right, what about if you put in -2 squared without the parentheses?
-4.
All right, what about -3 squared with the -3 inside parentheses? What about -3 squared without the parentheses? So -9. What about -4 squared with the -4 in the parentheses? And what about -4 squared without them?
-6.
Okay. Is there anybody in here who is unable to figure this out? How to feeling? Did you find the parentheses? Hold on. You need to put parentheses there. The negative is right next to, right below negative, or right below 3. Be good if I could talk this morning. All right. Taking the square root, which is that second x squared button, is what we call the inverse. Did anybody remember what an inverse is?
Is it the opposite?
It is the opposite, Landon. Although next time, raise your hand for me.
I was questioning myself this morning.
Hey, you were good. You remembered. I'm impressed.
Can I put it in my phone case?
Yeah. You might want to wait until the end of class, though, because you might get more.
Okay.
All right. So, the square root of 16 is what? So try it. Second x squared, and then put in 16, and then enter.
4.
Anybody want to guess what the other one is?
-4.
It is -4. Good job.
It's always
All right. And that's because 4 squared is 16. And if you put -4 in parentheses and square it, it is also 16. So, when we talk about the positive square root, this is basically just known as a principal square root. And when we use the radical sign, the solution is the positive square root. Now, I know a lot of this is just a little bit of vocabulary. So 16 is what we call a perfect square. And that is only because the square root is a whole number. That makes sense? Is there any questions as of right now? All right. So, at the bottom, we're going to do a couple of these together. And then you guys are actually going to finish the rest by yourself. And I'm going to give you a couple songs to do it. That means you're going to get some practice on how to do this. So what is 1 squared?
1.
What is 2 squared?
4.
What is the square root of 1?
1.
What's the square root of 2? Or, excuse me, square root of 4? All right, you guys are going to finish this table by yourself. Now, this does not mean if you are totally confused or not sure how to do this, you can't ask me for help because I'm going to be wandering around the room. Any questions before I turn y'all loose? All right, when you are through, if you will flip to page 20. By doing this, that these lovely numbers here were the same as these.
I found that after you showed me.
All right, if you did not figure that out, it's okay. Not everybody does. Just giving you a heads up. If you remember, 16 was a perfect square. So, page 20. What we're going to do is we are going to estimate irrational square roots. Does anybody remember what estimating means? If you would not mind, raise your hand. Broken,
An
where's
educated guess.
educated guess? Anybody else have a good one?
Wait.
Estimating. Kason?
This is probably not it, but rounding.
Could be rounding. Gracie, what were you going to say?
Kind of like is it guess like it's close to the actual.
Okay, so I actually like yours the best, just because if we're going to estimate, we want to get as close to the value as we can. Now, Kason's was also really good because we do sometimes have to round it. So, guys, when I'm asking you what you think, there is no wrong answer. I'm trying to figure out what you know. So please never ever think that, oh my gosh, my answer's wrong. No. I just want to know what you think. So, what we're going to do is we're going to create a list of perfect squares. So if 16 is a perfect square, that means if I take the square root of it, it's going to come out to a counting number or a whole number. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with our perfect squares. So, what was 1 times 1?
4.
And 2 times 2? 4. 3 times 3? 4 times 4?
16.
Okay, hold on. Did we get greater than 14 with 16?
Yes.
So, now, which 2 perfect squares is 14 in between based on our list? 9 and 16. So then what is the square root of 9? 3. If you're not sure, use your calculator and check. Second, x squared. What is the square root of 16? 4. So now we're going to basically just sketch a number line. Whether we like it or not, number lines, even though they may seem very elementary-ish, they actually do help. And you are going to be tested with a number line. So you'll actually have to figure out like which one it is based on a number line. How many of you are not comfortable with number lines? Alrighty, we got some honest people. I appreciate that. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to just create a nice little number line. Let me ask y'all this. Does everybody understand why there's arrows at the end of the number line?
To show you the direction it's going. It's up or down.
What if I told you the answer is no? What if I told you that the whole reason we have arrows is to show it goes on forever?
Oh, that is smart.
So, since it goes on forever, I can start this number line anywhere I want.
I thought it was the numbers going up or down.
That shows you positive. We can label it positive and negative, which helps us. But no, it actually, the arrows are just there to show it goes on forever. Because you can do a nice little line segment, and it's specifically those points. All right, so we're going to put slash 3 and a slash at the end for 4. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put one more in the middle for 3.5. Now, here's my question. Was 14 closer to 4 or was it closer to 3? How do you know?
Because it's that big.
Oh, so what was the square root of 14? Really?
3 point a bunch of numbers.
Okay, how about this? Give me 2.
3.74.
Yep. So this little symbol, for those of you who've forgotten, is an approximation. That means this is closest to the square root of 14. So where would that be on our number line? Would that be in the middle of 3 and 3.5, or in the middle of 3.5 and 4?
3.5.
Oh, okay. Now, which line? My little, yes, because you want to show where square root of 14 is. No, yours can be in a different color. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put an open circle here, and that's because this number is not exactly 3.74. All right, so remember I asked you which one it was closer to, and y'all told me it's closer to the square root of 16? You ready for a simpler version of what you all said? So 14 is actually closer to 16.
Wait, what?
So it has to be closer to 4. And how about this? I'll throw in the square root of 14 is closer to square root of 16. Because is 14 closer to 16 or is 14 closer to 9? Numbers wise.
16.
How many is it away from 14 versus how many is it away from 16? How far away is 9 from 14?
5.
How far is it away from 16?
2.
2. So which one is it closest to?
16.
16. Remember, if you are lost or you are confused, what's your job? Ask questions. Guys, you'd be surprised. I have numerous ways to explain stuff. All you have to do is ask. All right, so we have 3.74. Is that the tens place? So what would 3.74 be in the tens place? 3.7. And guess what? We are done.